Joe here from Boating Radio Waves. Today we're going to work on a project that I've been needing to do for probably about a week or so. We've had some rough weather here. But what I want to do is replace a blower motor. The blower motor went out a couple weeks ago. And I will tell you this, it's important that you check your blower motors if you've got an inboard boat. I've got two inboard Crusader 350s. They're on an older boat. And the purpose of the blower motor is to remove the exhaust fumes from the area where the motors stay, from that area that blows the exhaust fumes out, so that way it doesn't ignite and catch the boat on fire. It's recommended that you run these blower motors for at least 5 minutes. I run mine for 10 minutes. Maybe I'm just kind of freaking out over it, but I think it's a good thing to do, is make sure you get all that exhaust out of there. So it's important though that you check your blower motors. In my case, it didn't seem like there was a lot of noise. You know, sometimes the blowers, you can hear the blowers. And then I had one of my breakers pop that showed that something was going on there. And so I got down inside there and started listening. And of course, I found that I had a blower motor out. So there are two blower motors on my particular model boat. And the blower motor that we're going to look at today is a flange mount blower. And this particular blower is from Jabsco. And so we'll look at that here in a second. So what we have right here, this is the original, well, not the original, but the last blower motor that I had on the boat. And this blower motor was called a PAR, but it was a flange mount blower. And one of the things that happened, I originally took this off, and I thought it was going to be really easy. I was going to take this blower motor off, and then I was going to take the new blower motor, which is over here, and all shiny and new, same exact looking blower motor. I got in there and I realized that the wires on the new blower motor are not long enough to go to the wiring harness. They are probably about, I'd say about 4 inches short of the wiring harness. So what I'm doing is I'm going to obviously discard the old blower motor. And then I've taken the wires that were on the old blower motor, and I'll take these wires and I'm going to splice them to the new wires on the new blower motor. And then I've got to use this waterproof butt connectors and kind of wrap those up to make sure that I secure this particular part, so that way I can extend the length of the wires. Then after that, we're going to go to the boat and we're going to mount this blower motor where it used to be, and then we're going to secure our wiring, and then we're going to give it a test. So let's see how this comes together. So now I've got the wires all cleaned off, the outside plastic part, I'm trying to think of the word for it, insulation of the wires. I'll twist these up, and then one thing I did learn, you know, I'm a new boater, I'm new to doing this, so everything that I do is a learning experience for me on this. But I will tell you that there isn't a positive and negative of this. I kept looking for a positive and negative for the wire itself, because a lot of times on a car, I'm more familiar with cars. I thought, well, man, you know, where's the positive and negative for this thing? And there isn't one as a 12 volt. So when you're doing this job and you're looking at like, hey, I think I might need to find out which is the positive and negative, you don't have to do that, because it is already taken care of. So because there's not, the voltage is not to where it needs a positive and negative. So again, I'm new to this. I could be telling you something wrong. There might be a mechanic out there watching this. It's like, this guy doesn't know what he's going to do. But that's okay. I am learning as I go, and you can join me as you watch these videos. So anyway, I'm splicing these together. I'll be back in a second. So what I'm doing now, I've got the connectors on here. I'm just heating them up with this lighter. Just trying to heat shrink up and get these to where they're nice and secured onto the wire. I had to do the same thing to my bilge pump. The wires were, there was not a harness for it. And some of these motors will have a harness that they just plug in. but my particular one didn't have that, so that's why I've had to wire it up this way. So now that I've got the wires set up, we're going to go down to the boat, and I'll show you. I've got some really cool stuff here. Actually, I'm going to tape this up. I like to tape up those connections after I'm done with it, just because I do. But I've got these really cool waterproof wire nuts that I'm going to use to secure this to the harness, the wires together and then back to the harness. I've been recommended these by several people, and they seem like a good choice, considering the fact that I don't want to light anything near the motor. So I've had people recommend liquid tape, a few other things, but I think that using these waterproof wire nuts are a pretty good option for what I'm going to do. So we'll go to the boat, we'll go from there. Okay, so we're on the boat now, and I want to show you real quickly where the blower motor was and kind of some of the alterations that I've done to it just in the meantime to keep it sealed up. So what I've done is I've taken some old packaging. While the blower motor was on order, I didn't want something to get inside here and start building a nest. Right now we've had a lot of those old wasps and things like that. So I took some of this packaging that my brother gave me, and I took it and cut it to, at one time I was using it to seal up these areas in the winter whenever I have to put a trouble light in here to keep the engines warm. So I've got some of this stuff I've just kind of got laying around, and it was actually perfect for covering up this shrouding while I waited for the blower motor. So I'm going to take this off and we're going to start installing it. Okay, now you can see I have the motor in here. The shrouding on the bottom was already connected. So now I've got to take these wires here and I'm going to connect those up under here. This is where the connection was I couldn't reach, and now I've got a little extra slack in these wires, which will be good because I can use that later on whenever if I ever need to replace the motor again, which I'm sure I will at some point. These motors don't last forever. The other part of this is got to take this duct work and connect it to the motor here. So I'm going to do that. Okay, now you can see where I have taped up my wire nuts. I'm going to take these and zip tie it up and kind of cover them inside of the area here where it won't be as conspicuous. And also, now that I've done this, the next time I replace a blower motor, I won't have to worry about cutting and all this. I can just take it, tie it up with a couple of these waterproof wire nuts, and then put it in and out. It won't be such a process the next time. So anyway, I'm going to tie this up and we'll see how it goes. There you have it. The blower motor is installed. Good to go. Well, I thought I'd finish up the conversation about the blower motor with one simple thing. Turns out the blower motor was not bad. It actually turned out to be this little guy, this little switch here. I thought it was a blower motor. I mean, obviously I have a blower motor that didn't need to be replaced. So I've got a spare now. But anyway, I thought I'd wrap this video up with, it's always good to check everything. I didn't check the switch. I should have checked the switch before I bought a blower motor. But needless to say, you can change a blower motor out pretty easily. It's not that hard to do. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and time. And changing the switch out was pretty simple. I just pulled the dash out and replaced the switch, and all of a sudden it worked. So anyway, just thought I'd end the video with that. So have a great day. Boat on.